Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. You're watching another edition of the Small Business Show right here at ASBN.com. According to TD Bank's Financial Preparedness Survey, 47% of small business owners say they have less saved for operating costs than they believe is necessary for a business. Joining us today to break down more of the findings from the report is Tom Pretty, who is head of SBA Lending at TD Bank. Thank you, Tom, for joining us on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim. Excited to be here.
Sure. So small business owners continue to grapple with uncertainty around today's macroeconomic climate. Some things are crazy out there. Can you tell me more about today's environment and its impact on small business owners?
Yeah, I mean, the NFIB Small Business Optimism Index, increased by 3 points in May, pointing that small business owners, are confident in their business operations, especially at the local level. And any of us who have I've dealt with small business owners for my whole career, and we know they are optimistic, and that is truly why they're such a, important part of our economy. But then looking deeper into that, in our inaugural financial preparedness survey, the small business owners report showed that they are thinking about financial preparedness, with nearly all respondents, 99%, assessing their financial preparedness on at least a quarterly basis, if not more frequently. But to your point, where we did see the gap is, on focusing on being financially prepared, where they may not be as prepared as they think, with nearly 3/4 of borrowers, 72% of owners, not borrowers, believe they can withstand, a revenue shortfall for just 2 quarters or less. And then, before being concerned about their business, the future of their business. Yeah. And 43% of those owners said their business would not survive if they fell short on revenue for 3 to 4 quarters. But that doesn't mean that they're not setting up their businesses for success.
Right.
This just highlights the need that they need to spend time on planning financial resiliency, for their businesses.
Yeah, for sure. I've been an entrepreneur for many, many years, and there's been times when I was, as I say, paycheck to paycheck, but at least this was, vendor check to vendor check as they would come in. But and there's been other times when I've had a plethora of savings aside. But either way, as an entrepreneur, you're deploying that capital as quickly, in many cases, as it's coming in to grow your business, right? So it's always one of those things. How much do I really need set aside? Is it an entire budget or a month's budget for 6 months out, a year out, 2 years out? I mean, what is the number on that where a company feels prepared for, a major downturn in the economy or some catastrophe happening?
Well, that's really different from business to business. Sure. And situation to situation, but, looking at our data, nearly all 94% of the small business owners we survey believe that their company is prepared for the next 12 to 18 months, which is great.
Yeah.
Right. But, digging into that more, just to our earlier point, 3/4 of them don't know if they, if they have revenue shortfalls for 2 quarters or less.
Yeah.
And 43%, would be very concerned about keeping the doors open if the revenues fell short for 3 quarters or more.
Sure.
But, that tells us that their confidence may not match their actual results. And given everything, to your point, that's going on in the macro environment, maybe they do need to talk to a banker. One of the things we saw in the survey is most small business owners thinks they will need a line of credit or a loan to boost their growth over the next 12 to 18 months. One of the things we noted is 82% of them said they're likely to consider applying for a loan or a line of credit in the next year.
Yeah.
The survey also pointed out that when it comes to financial preparedness, small business owners are looking for advice, right? And financial advice and guidance. but less than half, 46%, are actually talking to their financial advisor or their banking partners.
Yeah.
One of the things we saw is the most common educational resource that they talk to beside their bank or financial partner is just advice from fellow small business owners,
Right.
which makes sense,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, of course.
But they're starting to, a lot of them said they rely on articles or books. And then one of the interesting things we saw is notably some are starting to turn to next gen AI, artificial intelligence, and using that to the business. And this is where we see a big opportunity at TD to help educate our customers on the right way to get financial support and flexibility for the business to support their both long-term goals and just their day-to-day operations.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say that for many small business owners, and I was one of them at certain times, I would wait too long before I would go to a lender to say, hey, I need to open up a line of credit. Because as you know, lenders are looking for cash flow, and they're looking for a rock solid business that's running smoothly and what have you. And you don't want to go to a bank when you say, oh my gosh, I can't meet payroll this week, or I can't meet payroll next month, or what have you. The bank's going to be a little bit more apprehensive to give you that loan. So the best time to go in and ask for that line of credit or apply for that line is usually when things are okay, right?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
If you need a loan tomorrow, you're not going to get the best terms, and you probably won't get the loan, right? But if you need a loan in 6 months or a year from now, and you have time to prepare for it, you have time to talk to professionals, you have time to talk to your banker, you have time to prepare, you're going to be in a better situation, and you're going to get better terms. You're probably going to get a better rate.
Yep.
It's going to set you up for success and set your business up for success, which is the most important part, obviously.
Yeah, there's no question. And if you open up a line of credit, you don't even necessarily need to use it, right away, but at least you've got it in your back pocket in case there's some rocky roads ahead, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting to know that banker and a line of credit can be a great tool to have in your arsenal to weather some seasonality, or if a good opportunity comes for your business. And here at TD, I'll toot our own horn. I'm the head of SBA Lending. We've been the number one SBA lender on the East Coast for the last 8 years.
Wow.
We do nearly 4,000 loans a year, and most of those are lines of credit, and they're a great tool for our customers and help set them up for success.
Sure. Is now a good time for someone to consider opening up a new business or a small business, in the sense that we do see some uncertainty out there in the marketplace and within the country? I mean, from DC, everyone is tariffs, and we've got some uncertainty out there. There's a war breaking out. I mean, there's entrepreneurs out there that are thinking, well, maybe now is not the best time to start a small business. What's your take on that?
I think there's a lot of reasons to, look at the opportunities that, in front of you. I think, without getting into the details of all that, I think talking about SBA loans, the SBA is looking at increasing these high-end size of loans for manufacturers. If you're a manufacturer, it could be a good time to get that loan. And and I think, the beauty of small businesses and of entrepreneurs is, they're not, they know when the opportunity is right, better than me or some quote unquote expert. It's like, well, I can't tell you when the right time to start your plumbing business is, or to open a restaurant, or a flower shop, or open the next restaurant. We were just talking about a restaurant deal on a call right before I got here. I think there's always opportunity, and that's the best part about it. But being prepared, you hit it on the head, like, getting ahead of your financial needs, being prepared for that, talking to your banker. Hey, if you're going to need a loan, in 2026, start talking to your banker, or, your lender today about those. But the other thing I always tell customers is continue to focus on your company and your customers, right? Like, how are you growing your revenues? How are you increasing your profitability? And then talk to, your banker and get prepared to, help your customers succeed and help your business succeed.
Sure, sure. As one consultant that I was speaking with recently said, if you are a person that thinks they can bring a sound solution to a problem that people in your market are having, then any time is a good time to open up a small business, right? And if you look at the list of companies, very successful companies like Starbucks and Walmart and other companies out there that actually opened during a recession in the country, it's very inspiring, because here are entrepreneurs that started businesses, and those companies are flourishing today, to say the least, right?
Yeah. Well, and thinking more about your question, we're still actively lending today and looking to actively lend to both, existing businesses and startups. So certainly I think this is a good time to grow a business.
Sure.
And I think, there's discussion about, cutting back on regulation. There's discussion about lowering taxes on small businesses, and all those things would help small businesses, certainly. So I think it's as good a time as any. And to your point, it really, I defer to the small business owner. Like, can they go solve a problem? Can they, go fill a niche? And if they can, go for it. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's right.
And hopefully TD or whoever they may work with is there to help.
That's right. The new administrator, Kelly Loeffler, who's also a resident of our hometown here in Atlanta, will be joining us on the show later in the year. We're excited to have her on, and she will tell you that there is millions of dollars on the sidelines waiting to lend to people that either want to get into business, open up a business, or to grow their business. The SBA is just phenomenal in doing just that. And also helping those companies and those businesses that were affected by disasters around the country. I mean, the SBA is usually the first one, boots on the ground, helping businesses get back on their feet again. There's no better partner, I think, out there for small business owners than to have the SBA in your corner, and they are there to help. But if you don't ask them for help through companies like TD Bank, then shame on you, because they're not going to come knocking on your door asking if they can help. You got to go out and apply for it and get the help that's offered, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Jim. And one thing that I heard you say, but I just want to reemphasize, is like, if you're ready to start a business or you're looking to grow your business, certainly let's talk about lending. But number one, think about your business. How can you grow your customers? How can you grow the revenue? Like, I've been on tons of panels and discussions, talking about how can we lend more. And it's like, lending's one tool in the tool bag to grow a company, right? There's tons of successful companies around the United States that have no debt, right? And just the same as we tell our children, like, hey, understand debt, use it when possible, but try to avoid it and be successful that way, and absolutely talk to your banker about ways we can help with debt or deposit products or merchant products or whatever the case may be, but lending is not the end all be all, but certainly if they're looking for that, the SBA can be an awesome tool for that.
That's right. And there's many business leaders out there that have made billions of dollars that will tell you that debt is your friend. Don't shy away from it or say you never want to be in debt. That's what helps small businesses and medium-sized businesses and large businesses, for that matter, grow. And in many cases, to your point, it can be a huge asset and a huge tool in the toolbox. So, Tom Priddy, who is the head of SBA Lending at TD Bank, thank you so much for stopping by ASBN. We very much appreciate it. I know that our entrepreneurial audience, I should say, out there got a lot out of your visit with us. So thanks so much.
Hey, Jim, thanks for having me, and have a great week. Talk to you soon.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.